Welcome back to the Packers Corner. We got a big show tonight, starting the season off. We're here less than 24 hours away. Gentlemen, good to be here with you tonight. We're going to dive into our reaction to the final cutdowns. We haven't had a chance to go over that yet. Some bold predictions, maybe a little rehash of our predictions last year and how those panned out. And we got to talk about the big matchup on Friday night here. Eagles, Packers. We'll get to it after the intro.
Winning isn't everything, but it's the only thing. In our business, there is no second place. Either you're first or you're last.
It was named after Vince Lombardi. You play in Green Bay. As important as it is to any other team, it means more to us.
When he walked into the meeting, he looked us right in the eye. He said, "Gentlemen, we're going to relentlessly chase perfection."
My first thought was, on any play with my arm strength, I may not let anybody know this, but my first thought was home run.
On every play.
On every play.
He did what? Fires into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! No!
Dad, Schmitty, we're here. You can finally taste it. The fall is in the air. I had pumpkin spice in my cup. We're ready to go that way. Schmitty, how you feeling about the fall coming along here?
Griffey, the great taste of Oktoberfest beers flowing through me. That's when you know it's football season. I can start to see this Midwest, these leaves starting to change their hue a little bit. It's football season. It's football season, baby. I'm so excited. This team is one to be excited for. So let's get ready. We're the eve of Green Bay Packer football.
The Eves. I like it. Dad, you getting ready to be sitting in a tree stand before long here? You starting to get that itch at all?
We are on the precipice of the pinnacle of seasons. The autumnal winds are about to blow, and I noticed they must not be blowing in Brazil because we went to the other intro, but that's good. We got to mix it up a little bit. But no, I'm like a kid in a candy store. What do? Do I go muskie fishing? Do I shoot my bow and arrow? Do I play a little more fall golf? Got to watch the Packers, but I don't think that our faithful viewership has any idea about the incredible journey that we're about to embark upon. And you cannot squelch my enthusiasm with a sledgehammer, a rocket, and a torch. It just can't be muted.
Well, I'm glad to hear you're fired up. That's a good deal. What did you think about our final cutdowns here, Dad? Anything jump out to you? I think we're all probably a little bit surprised to see Anthony Johnson Jr. not make the squad. You and I were both pining for Grant DeBose, but take me through what you saw when you saw the final roster here.
Well, when you got a deep roster like we do, you know, it's the shame of it is you got to lose some good players, and you look at 800 and some players are released around the league, and only 26 were picked up. That's less than one player per team, but our team had 3 guys picked up. Speaks to the depth and quality of our roster. And what do I know? I kind of thought Grant DeBose probably was worth keeping. You know, Anthony Johnson, I think, is somebody that we did want. Perhaps the greatest thing is we've gone through 6 kickers now, and we didn't even have the kicker we wanted out of the first 5 that we had in camp. So they must really like this guy. And what did he come from? Tennessee. We got picked up 2 players from Tennessee. Quarterback who I love. I love the pickup of Malik Willis. Oh my gosh. I'm wondering if we can get into that, but I'm wondering if we're going to see a little Taysom Hill sequence of plays coming with this guy with 4.3 speed. So on balance, you know, I think you got to tip your hat to Goody and say, we got to trust. And Goody right now we trust. We'll see how it goes with the kicker, but we upgraded at quarterback, so let's go. Let's get this deal done. A team this good cannot have a weakness at backup quarterback, and I think we have fortified that position.
Yeah, I think we got a guy that's going to be serviceable there. We can talk about how they might use him too. But Schmidt, Braden Narvison with a gal from Prescott, Wisconsin, seems fired up to be a Packer. Is this our guy?
What a wholesome man, very grounded. He is going to be an instant favorite amongst the Green Bay faithful. I think all you're going to need to see extra points being put through the uprights and a couple 40-yarders, and he is going to be beloved. I think he has the leg for it. Gar makes a great point. 3 of our cuts were picked up by other NFL teams. We are great assessors of talent. The Malik Willis, Narvison, it is undeniable that it is the mantra in Goody we trust. We must. This is a great shaped roster. So much so that we can feel comfortable with this kicker. Yes, you don't want to see 5 turnover in the matter of 4 summer months, but we got to get it right. We know that it burned us last season, and this is just one thing we cannot miss on. And this just might be our guy for a Mason Crosby-like career.
Was Taysom Hill one of the last practice squad guy or the last guys we had signed on the cut down day there, Dad? Is that true?
Well, Sean Payton and the boys down in New Orleans had their eye on him for a long time, and this is one place where Ted Thompson couldn't use his imagination. You got to give Sean Payton credit. He saw Taysom Hill. I mean, he had him running gunner on the punt coverage team. The guy had 4.4 speed. He was the backup quarterback, but Sean Payton never saw him that way. He saw him as a slash type player, kind of like Justin Fields is going to become eventually here if his career works out for him. Well, Schmidt, you and I go back and forth. I think Justin would be a great slash player. But at any rate, yes, that's what they used him for. And turned out he wasn't really a great quarterback, but you got the wildcat. He runs over there kind of a tight end position, flanker position. He throws the ball a little bit every now and then. And I think Malik Willis can develop into a bona fide backup or maybe better quarterback. But I think in the beginning, he also has a lot of usefulness as a potential wildcat runner on short yardage situations, maybe in the slot. Who knows? We'll see what kind of imagination they can come up with. But it certainly looks better than having to rely on Sean Clifford to come in and win a game. And I actually thought we could maybe get into that as a discussion point, that Michael Pratt had more talent. I just loved his release. I loved his arm strength. I think he had the higher ceiling. I don't know for sure if we didn't keep him because he got claimed and we were left with Clifford or how that worked out. But I know that Pratt did get claimed. Where did he end up going? Did you guys hear that? It was, I think, out to the AFC somewhere. Anyway, he's no longer on the roster, and we got Malik Willis. So that's good.
Yeah, I was more focused on where he was coming from rather than where he ended up. A member of the Tulane Green Wave, and I had visions of Max McGee in my head, of course, there. But they might have the coolest mascot in college football. Maybe we have to get into that discussion. Add a little college to our takes here. And shout out to the Ramblin' Wreck from Georgia Tech getting it done week 1 against Florida State. So I got that on my mind. Big Ten, big week for them. They got off to a big start. On the NFL front, I want to take a peek back last year. Some of the bold predictions we had, trip down memory lane, you guys might recall. Let's start with Schmitty. Schmitty, do you remember your some of your bold proclamations?
It had something to do with was it AJ Dillon leading the? It was something with rushing yards, I believe.
I would say you had 2 pretty bold predictions. You said that A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones would not start in the second half of the year for the Packers. They would be because of performance, not because of injury. And you really weren't too off looking back at that, right? You were maybe a half a year early. They aren't going to be starting at the start of this year for us for performance and age-related reasons, and we wish Aaron Jones luck, but not too much of it off in Minnesota. But it was time to move on, and you were maybe just a little bit ahead of the curve on that, but we gave you a hard time, and now it doesn't look that crazy, to be honest. Your other big proclamation was you had the Bears winning the division last year. And
I might have been 2 year too early for that, Griffey.
Well, maybe
Just
that's
a
the
year or
place
two
to start for this year.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not on the same page with you on that one, but what do you think about the lay of the land here this year? Do you have any bold takes you want to lay upon us?
We'll start with Packers centric. I will say that Mr. Enigbare will be our second leading sack getter for the team this season. I will also say, sadly,
After
Jair's going to put
Gary, are you putting Gary number
after
one?
Gary. Gary's number one, and Igbari is number two for the season. I will then say, Griffey, that Jair Alexander, the man who had my heart, he's going to play less than 9 games. He'll be gone after this season. Jair, thank you for your service. I'm not sold that the fire burns within him. My last, Griffey, the last one, Romeo Dobbs has more than 10 receiving touchdowns this season.
Your reaction to that, Dad?
I'm just kind of nonplussed here, and a little bit the blood's rushing out of my face for you letting Schmitty off the hook for the crying in the night. Good Lord. Aaron Jones had 100 yards rushing in each of his last 5 games, put the team on his back and changed the entire trajectory of the season. And you're going to let him off the hook on that? He wasn't going to be on the field because of performance?
Well, when it was all said and done, he couldn't quite get a few extra yards he needed on the big run we needed from him down against San Francisco in the fourth quarter when we had a chance to put the final nail in the coffin. And that's why he's in Minnesota. So, yeah, maybe I was being lenient there, but it was time. It was time.
Lastly, Griffey.
I'm not going to stand by here while you badmouth the United States of America. For crying out loud, we got to put an end to this balderdash.
I'm happy to have Josh Jacobs.
An utter abstraction of the facts. And yes, I'm happy to have Josh Jacobs, but let's give Aaron Jones his due. He flat out changed that team at the end of last year. And if for $1 million, he should have stayed on the roster. And I think he's going to regret that decision. But anyway, moving on.
No, I'm glad you even that out.
And I'll make this prediction. By the end of the year, Marshawn Lloyd will challenge Mr. Jacobs for our leading total yard back, rushing and receiving. There'll be nip and tuck. I'm just making it up as I go, Schmitty.
Oh, that's allowed.
That's allowed. That's allowed. I'm just like thinking of like how poorly that will be if that's the case. We're going to get pretty upset here later in the season if Marshawn Lloyd is outproducing Josh Jacobs. We're going to have a problem there, Gar. So, while yes, good prediction, bold prediction. Why would we be? Because then that would mean that
we want is the production out of the position. Doesn't matter, huh?
That would mean that that's a blunder, wouldn't it not be? If Josh Jacobs, who's now making, what is he making, Griffey, 12, 13 million a year? If he's not outproducing a rookie running back, we got a problem. That gentleman needs to be a bell cow for 2 or 3 seasons for this to all pay off.
I expect him to outrush Marshawn Lloyd, but I'm talking about combined yardage, rushing, receiving. I think you're going to get a huge, let's say this, you're going to get a huge contribution out of Marshawn Lloyd. And I think he's a guy with a lot of shiftiness who's going to fill that void that Aaron Jones did kind of as a change of pace guy. So I look for that. I look for Javon Bullard and the entire defense. Let's put it this way. Entire defense to be in the top 10 for takeaways, which is going to catapult our team to another level, giving our quarterback, Mr. Love, more opportunities to get that ball into the end zone. And I think it's going to be one of the keys as the season unwinds and Jeff Hafley gets that defense to gel. You're going to see a lot of takeovers from that penetrating, high risk, up the field, disruptive defense, that 4-2-5 defense we're going to play. It's going to be 4-2-5 more than it's going to be 4-3, boys, because you're going to see nickel a lot more than the base.
I'm liking this. Schmitty, where are the Bears going to finish in the NFC North race?
Don't do it, Schmitty.
Number one, Griffey.
Look at him.
They're going to finish
Oh,
number
We
one.
went through this a year ago. Do you not
Griffey,
remember, Schmitty?
Griffey, I can't help myself. They have everything, Griffey. They literally have everything. They have now a fantastic quarterback. Their receivers, better than ours, Griffey, more proven, certainly. Okay. I'm worried that this team, the Monsters of the Midway, are going to cause a ruckus because I think the Lions finished third. I think the Packers finished second. Okay, we're on a path. We're going to be on a path this season for greatness.
Well, you popped champagne last time we were to start the episode.
Griffey, please trust me. We do not want to be leading the pack going into the playoff. That's not our business.
It didn't work for us with Aaron Rodgers. That's true.
It's a very poor. I want it differently. Just like last season, we're the underdogs. That's the way we approach this. That's how we get to the promised land. The Bears, Griffey, they are on a path. They are ascending. Okay, that's bold prediction. Outside of the Packers, the Chicago Bears, 13 wins.
Wow. Schmitty, I got a bold prediction that we can assess really quick. I think after this time next week, you're going to have already amended this. This will all be something that you're wishing you wouldn't have said after 1 week of watching Caleb Williams in live action. You're going to be pulling it back is one of my bold predictions. Let me write that down. We'll check in on this 1 week until Schmitty pulls back his initial Bears take.
They always worry me, Griffey.
I want to do. I'll let you guys say a few more thoughts, and then I'll run down a little bit of my list. Any NFL wide takes? Lee, we kind of focused on the NFC North here. I want to take a step back and look at the whole NFL. Anything that you want to get off your chest and let the world know here that you want to look into the future and let them know what's in store. Dad, anything on your mind league wide?
Well, first of all, I've got a number of vested interests across the league that I ordinarily do not have. Number one, I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on the Atlanta Falcons and a man by the name of Kirk Cousins, bona fide starting quarterbacks. They do make $40-50 million a year, and they were complaining about having to sign Kirk to a $35 million contract, so they lost him. And they got something called Sam Darnold when Nick Mullins is already the better quarterback. So that goofball, this audience has heard me beleaguer the point about that stockbroker of a general manager that we have over to the east there that's just defies logic. But so I'll be watching Kirk. I'll be cheering for him when it's good for the Packers. I'll be watching our Jets. Our boy over there at the Jets, Aaron, I'm not sure if I'll be cheering for him or against him or what it'll be, but I'll be very interested. And I think I'm probably going to be pulling for him for the most part. So that'll be of great interest to me. Obviously, the Nick Mullen thing as the backup at Minnesota, I'm predicting now that Nick Mullen will end up being the starter by about October 15th. So, yeah, we got a lot of things to kind of keep track of. Aaron Jones over in Minnesota, we're going to want to kind of keep tabs on him. And I don't know what Schmitty's gone to the dark side every year with the Bears. I mean, we're going to have to get those toasters out again and the appliances and good. The good thing about it is maybe if the Bears do well enough, if the Packers have an off day, then we'll keep him off appliance watch. That could be the silver lining here, Griff, that we can keep Melissa not having to hide all the appliances in the house. And if the Bears win and the Packers,
it would be nice to have it'd be nice to have one of the NFL's greatest rivalries back in some regard. It's just a non-entity at the moment. Nick Mullins, maybe we got to dive into this a little bit. I think Sam Darnold. Maybe this is my bold prediction. I think I'm not going to put this as an official bold prediction. I don't feel this strongly in it, but I think he's going to do, maybe better than we would expect. I think he's in a really good situation with KOC. running the show there and getting to throw to Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and TJ Hawkinson when he comes back. And I think he's just been by far the best environment of his career, and I think he's going to be serviceable, which we won't say that's a bold prediction. But maybe this is the bold part. I think that's going to be better than what we see from Caleb Williams this year. My official bold prediction on that regard that I feel pretty confident about is the Bears absolutely got the wrong guy. And there's a couple, 3 or 4 other guys in this draft I think that could have been the right guy, but the guy who we're all gonna say, and it very quickly, you guys are gonna see this week 1. Jaden Daniels was the pick to make there. I think this guy's gonna be a problem for the NFL. I think he's gonna be a problem in fantasy football leagues. I'm having a tough time not starting him over Jordan Love in week 1, but Jordan Love is going to have a heck of a week 1 too, so it's a good problem to have on my fantasy squad. But that's one thing I look for, Schmitty, comparing the careers of Jaden Daniels versus Caleb Williams.
I love that.
You guys weren't that bold as far as I'm concerned. I think we were bolder last year. We said Jaden Reed going to outperform Jackson Smith and Jigba was what you had for us, Dad, and boy, did that come through. That was awesome. I said he was going to be the Packers' number 1 and that Jordan Love would beat Aaron Rodgers in yards, touchdowns, and completion percentage. I don't know if did Aaron complete a pass over there for New York. I might have lost on that one, but he pretty well ran the table on everything else there, so I'm feeling good about that. I think I got to go just a little bit bolder than you guys perhaps. Christian Watson, over 1,000 yards. Over 1,000 yards. That's my bold prediction. We'll leave it at that for right now. Let's maybe run through the full division pick. Schmitty, we kind of got yours, 13-4 from the Bears. What's your record for the Packers?
Packers, Griffey, they will be an 11-win operation this season, 11 wins.
And what do you have for rounding out the NFC North there?
Then your lowly Vikings, that is a 3-win operation this season, 3 wins from our Vikings. And the Lions, serviceable, Griffey, they are going to be at 9 wins this year.
9 wins, 9-8 for the Lions. Dad, take us around the NFC North here, if you would.
Well, first, I'd like to weigh in as 100% supporting your admonition that Mr. North Dakota State, the speedster over there, is going to get 1,000 yards, Christian Watson. So you can mark me down with you there. Now, I'm Schmitty. I love Schmitty. He knows that, and Griff, you know that, our audience, I think, but he's half crazy some of the times. It's just I don't understand where he's
fully crazy the other times.
Yeah, well, that's what we love him for.
It's a good day when he's
the Vikings are gonna hope that the Vikings can win 7 games. They're going to start off about 1-6 if you look at their schedule, and that's why Nick Mullen will be. The problem with Sam Darnold is he's just like Justin Fields. When the going gets tough, his vision goes like this. Doesn't matter how big your arm is if you can't see any more of the field than this. And that's what the problem is, the visual processing and the ability to see the field and anticipate your throws. And so that's why Sam Darnold has trouble. It's not his physical tools. He's got a big rocket arm and everything else, but in the NFL, you got to see the field. So that's why he's going to have trouble. So the Vikings are going to struggle to get 7 wins. The Bears are going to get, should I give them 8 or 9? It depends on if this Caleb Williams loses the locker room for painting his fingernails and wearing his funny underwear and carrying his man purse around and what. Maybe he's going to go up there to Minnesota and go in one of those boys' bathrooms, get a tampon and put it in his purse. I don't know what he's going to do, but Governor Walz has all those, Tim Jong Walls in his boys' bathroom tampons. I don't know. How did we get on that? Anyway, that's going to be a problem for Caleb Williams when he comes up to Minnesota. The Lions are going to have 11 wins, and the Packers are going to have 13 wins if the kicker is excellent, but he's not going to be excellent. We're gonna have a rookie kicker that's going to be adequate, so we'll have 12 wins. And we will win the division right down at the end there, and we'll be off to the playoffs with a home field game.
There we go. I might have to add one more bold prediction. I've been saying it. We said it a little bit last year, but a lot of comparisons to what I see on this team on offense and the greatest show on turf. Big Rams fan as a kid from '99 to 2001, and I thought they had a heck of an offense to watch there. I'm trying to think of what precedent that they set that we might be able to attain for this year. A little bit tougher playing on tundra than turf, as you can imagine. How about this? Let's just win the Super Bowl. Is that too bold of a prediction? We're going to win the Super Bowl. That's something the greatest show on turf did. We won't get too specific about that. It's tough for me to pick the Packers to lose a game this year, gentlemen. I think everything's going to have to go wrong for that to happen, and it's possible. Things can happen, but I don't see us losing more than one or two, and I'm just doing that to not sound too crazy, but it's not really what I feel deep down. Is I think we're winning. We're running the table. We are running the table. Is how I feel. I'm going to put us down for 15-2, so they don't lock me up. But that's about as melancholy as I can get about it. The Lions are the second best team in the division. There's no doubt about that. I'm not even putting a number on the Bears because it would probably be too low. So I'm going to abstain from giving them a number. I think the Vikings maybe do a little bit better than some might think. 7 wins for the Vikings. 7 wins for the Vikings. That's what I got for you guys on that front. And with that, let's shift gears to the game we have on Friday night down in Brazil. So air quality is good enough. We're not going to have a problem there. Apparently the green thing was a misnomer where the Packers are wearing green, which I was hoping that if anybody wore green, it wouldn't be the Packers for our safety and so forth. But it sounds like that's not as big of a deal as they made it out to be. Schmitty, are we going to get it done? What's your prediction for the game?
Griffey, you saw me pop champagne on our last pod, and I really felt bad. I think the champagne might have warped my brain a little bit, brought me back to earth, possibly. I'm really concerned about this defense. That's really where I'm going with this. The defense is unproven. Halfley, sure. This new scheme, 4-3. I don't know what this looks like yet. So there's just a bunch of unknowns. If you remember the last few seasons, the defense was supposed to be the one to carry us, and that certainly hasn't been the case. And now Jordan Love and the offense, I mean, they're the front runners here. We go as they go, and so the defense just needs to be serviceable. The problem is there's so many new faces. You don't know where the production's going to come from. The only thing that I'm certain will happen is that we are going to have the ability to get to the quarterback this season. Beyond that, on the back end, our safety play and cornerbacks, even Jair, I'm low on this season. I don't know how what those performances are going to look like week in, week out. Now, the Eagles themselves, they have even more questions. And so that's why I will say the Packers win on Friday night in Sao Paulo, 24-23. It's going to be a nail biter, Griffey. Both of these teams have question marks. Eagles have more. They're going to start 2 new kids on defense. AJ Brown's going to be is a monster. Back-to-back 1,400-yard seasons. Devontae Smith back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. What we have going for us is that we can attack the quarterback, and Jalen Hurts is susceptible to making bad decisions. So on top of the victory, we will win because of the turnover battle. We win 2-0 in the turnovers on Friday night.
Jordan Love's able to take care of the ball. We don't cough one up from special teams. We keep it to 0. That'd be good. That'd be a good deal. Dad, what are your thoughts for the game?
Well, first of all, without any assignment to who's going to win or lose, I think we have an interesting observation to make of which team drafted the correct Cooper. If you might recall, we were sitting there at about 41 with Cooper DeJean on the board, and the Eagles swooped in front of us to take Cooper DeJean out from under our nose, and we ended up with Edgerrin Cooper. And then 17 picks or so later, we got the young man from Georgia by the name of Javon Bullard. So had we taken Cooper DeJean, we wouldn't ended up with Edgerrin Cooper, who's a little bit hobbled and injured. But when you think about the defense, Schmitty, and you're concerned, number one, we don't have something called Rudy playing safety. We don't have a Savage by the name of action right there. And then you bring in Xavier McKinney for one of them, and Javon Bullard and Evan Williams, who's actually looked incredible during the preseason. You got Elron, what is his name? Hopper? Griff? The other linebacker? Who Tyron. Tyron Hooper? Hopper? Hooper. Yeah. So a lot of personnel. It may take a while for them to gel, but I think you're going to have speed demons who can, the big concern, right, is the running quarterback. Is Hurts going to get loose and hurt us? He did in the last game, if you recall, when Jordan Love had to come on at the end of that game and try to catch up. I think Hurts had about 120 yards rushing because we played a man-to-man defense and turned our backs, and he just ran silly. So we're going to get a good look at that. But the only other thing I wanted to mention in terms of wild takes, Schmitty said, I think Barry was going to have the second most sacks. Well, he's wrong again. It's going to be Lucas Van Ness, and he's going to have double-digit sacks right behind Rashawn Gary. So we get that out of the way. And we're going to win this game 31-23 when the Eagles go for a late touchdown and go for 2 to try to get the 2 to know where they need to be, and that's where the comeback's going to end. 31-23 with Jordan Love just putting on a master clinic for all to see on Friday Night Football.
I love it. Well, after my record, I think we can all assume where I'm going with this one. I won't leave you in suspense here. I'm going with the Packers, and it's not going to be a close one, guys. We're going to have a fun time in the Larson basement. Maybe we'll have to get a little clip from the wood-paneled basement down there, Schmitty. That would be a good deal for the pod. Share with it. That's sacred, hallowed ground. That's where we were when they won the Super Bowl, and I think we're going to get to maybe celebrate there again this year. But we're going to start off the season feeling the right way. Going to be a big celebration for the guys out in Sao Paulo. Hope they, don't run too much of a muck down there, and I'll make it back to Green Bay safely. But the game's not going to be too tough for us. We're going to get a couple turnovers. I think it's going to be reminiscent of what we saw in Dallas in the playoffs here. This is going to be a boat race. I think 38-17. Packers get it done. Maybe they let the Eagles score one late, kind of like they did the Cowboys, 38-24, but it's not going to be much of a game. We take care of business, and we're on to the next one right off the bat here. Now, my only question is, like I said, is Jordan Love going to throw enough touchdowns here to outperform Jaden Daniels in Washington this week? And I think it might be Josh Jacobs that steals a couple touchdowns. We threw the ball into the end zone a lot last year, and I think maybe we see a regression to the mean, couple more rushing touchdowns this year, perhaps. With that being the only negative I can find for the week. Braden Narvison, big game, hits a couple big time field goals for us down in the Southern Air down that way, and I think we're going to be feeling much better about the kicker situation in a week's time as well. That's what I got for you guys there. Schmitty, champagne, can we roll it back out, or you putting a cork on that?
Everyone, Oktoberfest beers are an absolute delight. We can put the champagne on ice. All right, we're going to get excited. All the talking heads, they all have the Packers to win a Super Bowl. You're safe. Nothing's going to happen to your champagne. It'll maintain a nice temperature for weeks to come. Enjoy some of these fall beers. Get ready. It's football season, baby. It's football season. I got my shirt off. I just want to hug the two of you. Embrace. Let's have a great season on Packers Corner. Griffey, Gar, Super Bowl, baby.
Go Pack, go. Dad, any final words for the viewers here tonight?
Well, I just have to pour a little cold water on this talking head business, because I see the Packers ranked 9th in the power ratings. I see Jordan Love being the bottom of the second tier quarterbacks. I think we got a chip on our shoulder. I'm ready to rumble. I'll tell you what, if Jordan Love is the bottom of the second tier, you try to rationalize for me 4 quarterbacks better than Jordan Love. I mean, it isn't true. He was in the top 7 for yards last year. He was the second in touchdown passes. We got a top 5 quarterback, and these talking heads who go, oh, I got to see more than what I've seen. Okay, well, you're going to see it. Get your popcorn out. Get ready.
Get your popcorn ready.
That's only a top 5. Not only a top 5 quarterback, you're going to see a guy who's going to go right down to the end of the season vying for the MVP. So let's get this thing started. Here we go. And that's about enough out of me.
We'll sign off there. I'm excited to get back here a week's time from now and see where we're all at already. Nice to be back here with you guys. It'll be a weekly occurrence now. We're thinking Tuesday nights, try and get the pod out. Wednesday morning for the viewers paying attention. We're in our preseason internet form. I apologize for any audio visual issues we had. We haven't hit our peak stride yet. We'll get there. Pleasure being with you, gentlemen, tonight. Have a good night. Go Pack, go.
Love you all.